Good morning. This week you'll be drawing a fish using Biro. So the first thing that you need to do is look on slide 7 on the PowerPoint and you will see the fish that you need to draw. And you will see that the image that I've given you to work from is already a drawing. I've done this to help you so that you can start to establish how to make different tones and the types of marks that you need to be making. So I know a lot of you have had problems with tonal variation and making sure that your marks are purposeful so they help describe the form of the subject that you're drawing. So the first thing that I've done here is I've drawn a basic quick outline. You can do this either by using the gridding technique or you can trace if you want to. You can trace from your computer screen if you make the image the full size of the screen and then you place your piece of paper on top of it. You can note that I've got a couple of tips on the page here. The key one would be to look. Make sure you're always referring to the image that you're drawing from and making sure that you're referencing the different tone in there and trying as best as you can to get it as accurate as possible. I'm going to start with this point, so establishing the very darkest areas within my image, and I'm going to find those predominantly in and around the eye area. So I know that those need to be as dark as I can possibly press. So I'm just going to put the little highlight in there by drawing around it. And then I'm just going to start to put those marks in. Where I have a block of colour like this is the only area where I can make marks that go back and forth. And this should be as black as I can possibly get it. Making sure that we've got the right tonal contrast is important because that allows us to make a wider variation of tones as we go along. So I'm just going to fill that in like that. And that would all be that exact tone, as dark as possible. What I don't want in there, because I don't want to do this really quickly, is variation in tone. I don't want scribbly marks. Everything should be flat and block, and there should be no white gaps in that area apart from the little highlights because that is my darkest tone on the image. I'll find this tone elsewhere in the image if I'm looking at this bottom part here, like this, and you can see that all of my marks are travelling in the same direction. They're still nice and controlled. So I would fill that part in. And then there's also an area around the mouth here. This part. And I would fill that in. From there, I've now established my darkest areas. Then what I need to do is establish the lightest areas within the image, because these areas are the only areas on the page that can be the white of the page. And this does have quite a lot of high contrast in the image, so there are a lot of areas within this, but sometimes what you'll find is that you're not putting enough of the light tone in yourself. So if I look at the image, you can see that obviously in the eye there needs to be the white of the page around the eye, and then these bits here. Along here, I shouldn't really have any white of the page. I should have really light marks that I'm making. So if I go back to my image, I'm going to show you the direction of the marks that you need to be making and how you can think about varying tone. So if we look at this strip here, you should be able to see that the marks go diagonally down and across like this. I'm going to start by putting in the darkest parts of those, and that's a couple of lines here like that. And that's using this line technique is going to help me get the right texture. Now I want to go lighter in those areas as well. So I'm just going to go over those a little bit darker. So to do that, I'm just going to adjust